Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Jesse Meckling, the Director of Education at the Center for Coastal Studies, and this is another edition of Cool Marine Animals I Have Seen. This week's theme is Just One Look, so animals that I've seen only one time, very, very briefly. So today we're going to talk about a type of weird and wild fish. I honestly can't remember. I believe I've only seen these one time in my life. I remember the one time I saw it, which was diving in Hawaii a few years ago. But I've seen so many pictures and I've looked for it so often that I feel like I may have saw it another time, but I can't really be sure. But I know I did see it once. I went back to look for it the next day, couldn't find it again. It's definitely a crazy animal, and like other things we've talked about, we're going to talk about all these types of animals, not just one species, because I'm not really sure which one it was I saw, and all of them are super cool. They have such names as hairy, warty, freckled, clown, painted, and even psychedelic. The fish shares its name with an amphibian for how it looks, and they were perhaps one of the most bizarre and fascinating of all the fish in the ocean. And of course, I am talking about the frogfish. Um, so let's start with the presentation. Um, Frogfish are actually a type of anglerfish, those fish that um, lure in their prey. There are an estimated 48 species, but I have a question mark there because I found different reports of anywhere from 46 species up to 53. Some species have only recently been found, and I'm sure more will in the future, just like nudibranchs. There will be more species of these amazing little fish probably found in the future. They can swallow prey up to twice their size, and they are considered one of the best examples of mimicry in nature. So they mimic lots of things where they live. We'll talk about that. So where do frogfish live? Frogfishes live in tropical and subtropical regions of the Atlantic and Pacific, as well as the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. Really, the only sea where they're not found is the Mediterranean. Their habitat lies, for the most part, in areas where the um, surface water level temperature is usually around 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit or more. The greatest diversity of species is in the Indo-Pacific region, and if you can see, there's a small little triangle over there in Indonesia, in the Lembeh Strait, which is off of Sulawesi in Indonesia. Divers have found 9 different species of frogfish. Frogfish are bottom dwellers that generally live on the ocean floor around coral and rock reefs, up to 100 meters deep or 330 feet deep. They are pretty fascinating animals. They are generally small, with the smallest only measuring 1.5 to 2 centimeters. That's 0.59 inches, to the largest species growing up to 38 centimeters or 14 inches. So they're predominantly small fish in the 5 to centimeter, or I'd say 5 to 15 centimeter range. Frogfish lack typical dorsal fins. Instead, they have 3 fins, of which the frontmost is referred to as the rod, which is topped with a lure. So this is how they lure in their prey, as many anglerfish do. Many species can change color. Some are covered with other organisms such as algae and hydrozoa. Some resemble stones or coral, while others imitate sponges or sea squirts. They are masters of camouflage. The Commerson's frogfish seen here, like you'll see in a second, can change its color to blend in with pink, red, yellow, or brown sponges and rocks, and even has uneven textured skin that matches the rough surface of the reef. And these animals can change color relatively quickly. In a matter of weeks, they can change. They can be on the surface and change color to blend in with their surroundings. In 2005, a species was discovered, the striated frogfish, that mimics a sea urchin. And some frogfishes can even inflate themselves like pufferfish to ward off predators. Um, this camouflage is a type of something called aggressive mimicry, a strategy that of resembling something else to gain an advantage over their prey. You can see here this frogfish has, you can see the lure on its head. So in keeping with this camouflage strategy, frogfishes typically move very slowly, lying in wait for their prey, as do all anglerfish. Different species of frogfish have different lures. These are called SK, which they wave in front of their mouth. You can see here to attract prey. Some lures resemble shrimps, other fishes, worms, or tiny squids. Recent research has even shown that the striated frogfish, the one that can resemble sea urchins, their lures are bioluminescent. Once they spot their prey, they will slowly use their pectoral fins to walk closer to it. And the frogfish is carnivorous, eating crustaceans, benthic fish such as flounder, and even each other. So they are cannibalistic if a smaller frogfish gets in front of the bigger one. They have the fastest known prey engulfment of any strike of any vertebrate, as fast as 6 milliseconds. And I would definitely, after this video, go and check out frogfish eating online. It's pretty amazing how fast they move and how fast they strike their prey. The fastest of any vertebrate in the world. Their jaws can amazingly open up to 12 times its size, and their stomachs can expand to eat animals twice their size. They swallow their their prey whole. Frogfish lack a swim bladder, and due to this, they use their modified fins to walk or even sort of skip and gallop across the seafloor. They can, however, swim, which they do by using jet propulsion. Frogfish use backward-facing tube-like gill openings. And they suck in water that propel them along rather than using their tail like most fishes. Frogfish lay between 40 and 180,000 eggs. Females are typically much larger than males, sometimes 10 times the size, though otherwise, if they're not next to each other, it's impossible to tell them apart without looking internally. After mating, the males quickly depart or risk getting eaten by the females. In some species, however, some species the males actually brood the eggs. The female transfers the eggs to the males, and they brood the eggs. Some frogfish species lay their eggs on solid surfaces, and which the males will guard. Typically, those eggs will be larger, and the larvae that hatch will be better developed. But in most cases, the eggs are released into the water column, and in 2 to 5 days, those eggs will hatch, and then the juvenile frogfish will live. The larvae will live planktonically, so floating around the getting moved around by currents for about 1 to 2 months. Even frogfish at 5 to 10 millimeters, the larvae of frogfish at 5 to 10 millimeters have lures, and after floating around for 1 to 2 months, at this stage between 15 and 28 millimeters, or 0.6 and just over an inch, they have the form of adult frogfish, and they'll settle down and begin their lives on the seafloor. Some juvenile frogfish, like the painted frogfish, can mimic other animals, like toxic nudibranchs that we learned about, animals we learned about last week. And because of this behavior, they have little to fear from other predators, while also being ignored by their prey. There are a number of species of frogfish that change their colors from young to adults. But most, or I should say not most, but many frogfish juvenile are easily prey to larger animals. But once they reach maturity and settle down on the reefs and the rocks, they are generally the hunter and not the hunted. threats such as climate change affecting reefs can certainly affect the future of these fish, or affect their habitats in the future. But right now, wild populations of frogfish are thought to be large and stable. There aren't thought to be many threats to these animals. It's not known how long these animals can live, but in captivity, they've lived up to a number of years. So that's all for today. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you go and check out some cool videos of these weird and wonderful animals. I remember seeing it. It was definitely one of the highlights of diving, and I hope I'm able to see many more frogfish, especially the psychedelic frogfish, which was the one I had posted up before, in the future. So hope you can join me again tomorrow for cool marine animals I've seen, just one look theme. And have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye bye.